Yes. So, hi everyone. I welcome everyone to this session. This session is more about to give you a teaser of what decision making is all about. In a way, giving you a preview of what you can expect in XAT 2021 from the decision making sections. What are the things to be taken care of? What are the nuances that one can be involved with? What is the strategy? What are the things that you have to keep in mind while attempting any sort of set? How many sets should you attempt, and things like that. So we'll start with the XAT aptitude. What are the changes in the XAT this year? And then we'll talk about how decision making in a section is different from the other section. Fair. And in the between, if you have any sort of questions, you may hold on to it and you can put it in the comment section afterwards. Probably it should be resolved, but yeah, if not, I'll be happy to answer them. Yeah, so before we move ahead, the first is a very important news for everyone. I hope that all the people who are attending the session here are the one who will be writing XAT. And if you haven't really applied for the form yet, or if you have missed the form, the deadline has been extended to 10th of December. So you all can go back and fill the form if you have not done already. Right? Next is XAT 2021. So what has changed? Let me just put on my marker. Yeah, sure, it's working now. So of course, goes without saying, you don't have essay questions. So people who have been writing that for last 3-4 years, you would know that initially there used to be one essay writing question, which is not being asked since last 2-3 years, and that is same. That hasn't changed. You have an online exam. Duration hasn't been reduced. Is as 3 years. There is no COVID impact, but yeah, the thing which has changed is the number of questions. Till last year, total number of questions were 99. This year they will have 100 questions. And if you see, the number of questions in quant has been increased from 27 to 28. In decision making, you will have 21 questions, and in verbal, you will have 26 questions. And GK is 24. So if you sum it all, it will come out to be 100 questions in total, out of which 25 is GK, 25 is your verbal. And one very important thing, this year, that has introduced one new variety of question, that is NAT. What is NAT? NAT is basically numerical answer type, where you have to type in the answer. You can relate this to theta type of problems. I think there is some chats coming up. Okay.
Richard, please mute your mic.
Please mute your microphone. Yeah, guys, please, if everyone can just mute their microphone, I think it will help everyone else. I'm also trying to find an option using which I can mute everyone. I don't see an option here, but yeah, guys, please go on mute. Okay. So this was it. Let's move on. What are the salient features of XAT 2021? Like, what are the major things that you have to note? I'm sure you all would be aware of it, given that you all are XAT aspirants. Every question will be followed by 5 options. So each MCQ is followed by 5 answer options. The pattern remains same. You have +1 mark for each correct answer and 0.25 marks, which is 25% of the mark of the question is the negative here. So you have 0.25 marks for every wrong answer that you make. However, please note that there is no negative in the GK. Yes, it has been the case. There is no change here. So GK may, you can apply it to CAS if you want. Also, GK is not counted for percentile calculation. I think many students who are writing XAT for the first time, they have this question that GK की तैयारी कैसे करना है, क्या पढ़ना है. So guys, GK का percentile is not calculated while giving you a call of XLRI. It is only calculated for the final selection, which is basically जब तुम्हारा composite score निकलता है, which has GD, PI, XAT का score. Only then, if you have a tiebreaker, then GK का mark is used to अवॉइड टाई ब्रेकर. तो जीके का इतना ज्यादा वेटेज इन टर्म्स ऑफ ज़ैट तो नहीं है, बट आई विल सजेस्ट एवरीवन टू एटलीस्ट रीड 30 minutes every day. I think that should be enough. You have 25 questions. Out of 25, even if you make 12, 13 right, I think you're through. Also, there is one new information that is given, that you have a penalty of 0.1 mark per question if more than 8 questions are left unattempted. Can anyone tell me what does this mean? Anyone would like to explain what is the meaning of this, which is given in your XAT instruction form?
Yes, sir. If we didn't
Yeah, I
attend
think
more,
you guys can unmute yourself and you can also speak up.
So,
Yeah,
sir, for
if
the
you leave
first,
16 questions, then -2. I don't think that
no,
makes
no, I
much of a
don't think.
sense here.
No, sir.
Yeah,
Every
so let
9th,
me
10th questions, it will be
explain
a
this to
minus
everyone.
0.1.
So see guys, you have 100 questions, right? You have 100 questions, out of which 75 has a negative marking and 25 doesn't have a negative marking, which means any good student, any intelligent and sharp student will definitely attempt all the 25 questions because there is no negative. तुम सबको B भी लगा के आ सकते हो, right? It won't matter. So ये तो सारे attempt करने ही है. And out of this 75, if you attempt anything above 67 questions, then this does not make sense for you because ये चीज सिर्फ तब apply होगी when you leave more than 8 questions. So if you attempt more than 67 questions, you are in this bracket and there will be no mark deducted. But yeah, for instance, iske beyond, if you leave 10 more questions, which means if you only attempt say 57 questions out of 75, then you have a 0.1 mark per question, and because you have left 10 questions, it will be 1 mark, right? So it basically means that for every 10 questions left after 8 questions, which were the buffer given by the XAT, you have a deduction of 1 mark. So which basically proves the point कि इसका ज़्यादा meaning नहीं है. So don't be under this thing कि मुझे ये 0.1 mark बचाना है, इसलिए सबके तुक्के मत लगा देना, because you have a negative of 0.25. Right? 0.25 is greater than 0.1, so opportunity cost is too high. Hence, ज़्यादा तुक्के नहीं लगाने. Do as much as you can. इसका anyways weightage ज़्यादा नहीं है, right? You can see कि अगर 10 question छोड़े, then it is 1 mark. ज़्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा इससे. Yeah, I again see some chats coming up. Let me just check it. Yeah. Can someone tell me how do I mute everyone? I think I can do that.
Sir, I guess you have a...
Yeah, where's that option? I'm trying to explore that option.
Sir, actually you have a permissions over there, like a security badge there, and you can select participants are not allowed to unmute and we can only chat.
I think I haven't updated it, so there's an issue with the laptop. Okay, thanks, Anam. Yeah, so we have discussed on the 0.1 penalty, the penalty of 0.1 score, and yeah, last and the most important information for everyone is you have 165 minutes for the first 75 questions. In GK ke liye you have 15 minutes, right? So GK wala part 2 is sorted because it doesn't have a negative marking. Yahan pe you have over 2 minutes per question. So keep a note, this is the 165 minutes that matters to you, and you have to achieve your dreams only in these 165 minutes. Okay, so this is an information for your information. And yeah, now I think that is pretty much about the XAT. I think iske alawa you all know, or if you haven't seen the last video, you can see it. That will give you enough information. Now, next question is what is the importance of decision making? So I think I have taken XAT 5 to 6 times already. So what I'll do is I will try to just show 2 of my scorecards, which will prove the point of the importance of decision making. So let me just move on to the next slide. I think a scorecard should be explanatory. So this was the first time that I've written XAT. It was in 2013, and I myself have been a quant DLR faculty. So my strategy was कि ठीक है पूरा quant में ही करके आना. So I think I scored 99.95 in quant. But having said that, my verbal, just ignore it. It has been bad, I think, since ages. But yeah, decision making, I did not pay any focus on decision making. My strategy was कि मुझे ठीक है quant के जितने भी questions है, I have to go and attempt everyone because ठीक है भाई हम लोग engineers है, we are from IIT, so yeah, quant तो सब कुछ करके आना है. We just took it on our ego, quant सब करना है, and I was managed I think I managed to do almost all the questions barring one, and it got me 99.95. I was like very happy. But then last column was my overall percentile, and my sectional cutoff was not clear in decision making. It was not clear in English as well. So at this percentile, I had zero calls from matlab XIMB वगैरह. No college had called me in 2013. Then उसके बाद तो मैंने 2014, 15, 16 दिया. I already cracked that. But yeah, this is my last attempt. I again took XAT in 2019 because I wanted to understand कि अभी क्या changes है. And at that time, because I knew कि ठीक है sectional cutoff का काफी importance है, I did not give much time to quant. So though quant has been my forte, if you can see, I only had 98.191 percentile in quant. So even though I knew almost, I think, all the questions, but yeah, my strategy was that I have to probably equalize. I have to make my score equal in all the sections. So I had 98 in quant, 91 in verbal. Yeah, I managed to probably clear the sectional cutoff this time. And in decision making, I found it really easy, and I scored around 95.8 in decision making, which gave me an overall percentile of 98.795. And using this percentile, you can see I had a call from XLR IBM. So this is just to show you that what is the importance of decision making. In these two scorecards, I think what matters is, matlab, the major thing that makes a difference is the sectional importance. So decision making, now I believe, because I've been in touch with decision making since I think 4 or 5 years, I've been working on it. So now I can very confidently say that this has the highest ROI. So the per unit time that you spend in every question, decision making is like the easiest to crack. So सबसे ज़्यादा return यहाँ से आता है. And the best thing is, even if you are a weak or maybe an say a moderate student, ठीक है, maths इतना अच्छा नहीं है, then decision making is a new section for everyone, right? It's not just you. So far everyone is on the same page. You just have to get your things right, and if you can manage to do that, I think you can definitely cross 95 in decision making. Okay? So I think this was just to give you the importance of decision making. And while we also have Leela with us, I think Leela is again a mentor who has been mentoring students for decision making. He'll also be taking your decision making sessions and the events. So he scored 99.8. So probably I think he can very well speak on this slide, that what are the general questions that one aspirant has for the decision making. So Leela, are you there? Maybe if
Yes,
you're
sir.
here, then you can just unmute and start speaking. If not, maybe I can cover.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am here. Thank you for introducing me. Hi, guys. My name is Leela Krishna. Before starting my part, I would like to say that XLR is a college which is considered equal to IIM ABC.
Gautam, I did not go to Excel because I already did my MBA in 2018. I just gave because I wanted to understand the patterns. So I did not go for the interview for Excel. Okay. Yeah. So I think Leela is not here. So maybe, yeah, I'll continue. I think he has some network issues. So yeah, the
Just
major
one
questions
question
that come in the mind of an aspirant for decision making are, is it a difficult section? Because it's a new section. Abhi tak maine padha nahi hai. So is it really difficult? I haven't known anything about decision making. Can I score well in this section? And why is that alone is stressing on the decision making?
Hello.
Right? These are the questions that typically students have. I think answer to the third point we have already discussed in the last session. Why that so much focuses on decision making? You all are going to be MBA. You all are going to be CXOs. I think everyone who does an MBA, doesn't matter which college are you doing an MBA from, but if you compare any MBA, say 20 years down the line, if you have done it from tier 1 college, you all will be at the same place. Whether you do it from IIM Ahmedabad, or you do it from FMS, or you do it from IIM Lucknow, or you do it from XLI, or you do it from say IIM Indore, I think after 20 years, 25 years, you all will be at a very senior position, making decisions for the company that, okay, these are the places that I have to invest and all. Right? So I strongly believe that at least for your future trajectory in your career, decision making plays a very, very important role. Hence,
Shubham sir.
Yeah, guys, I'm not able to hear you. I'm not really sure why is this happening. Just maybe let me
I
try
guess, sir,
to unmute.
Shubham,
I don't know.
Mohammed want to
Oh, do you want me
say
to
something.
reconnect the audio? Okay. Just guys, sorry for this. Maybe just give me 1 minute. I'll be back. Fine. Okay, guys. So maybe I think let's start. And Leela, again, I'm really sorry. Maybe you can take sessions directly, right? So I can just move on for now. Yeah. So why these things are important? Leela, you can also directly connect with the Leela who has been mentoring students. But yeah, we have already focused on it, and all of these answers of each of these three questions you can directly find it in the post that I made with the name of what should be the XAT preparation strategy. So it already has answers to probably all of these questions. And decision making, I believe anyone can easily crack given you just dedicate 2 hours on a daily basis for the next 30 days. If you can do that, if you can make that sort of commitment to yourself, I think you can nail decision making, and which can give a lot of boost to your scores. So yeah, this was it. Now let's talk about the decision making section, which again may answer some of the question that was presented in the last slide. Yeah, guys, Subin, maybe I'll take all the questions later on. This is just distracting me when there are some chats coming on. So maybe whatever questions you have, just hold on for a minute and then we'll take all the questions at the end, right? So yeah, decision making, this is the make or the break section. And why is that? Because this is only unique to XAT. Every student is at the same page as of now. So now it is up to you whether you want to have 50 percentile or whether you want to have 99.99 percentile in decision making. Only next 30 days is going to determine your percentile in decision making. And the major difference is decision making is not like an RC. So people who think it is just like RC, I'm like very good in making passages, reading passages, comprehending it. No, it is not exactly same as RC. Why? Because one RC is something which is followed by questions, जहाँ पे question का answer is basically hidden in the passage itself. You just have to comprehend the passage well. If you can do that, you can crack RC. But here it is not the case. A decision making set is again followed by some questions, but then questions ka answer is not there in the passage. The test taker wants to check on how well can you think on the question. He basically wants to be in your shoe and basically wants to analyze that whether you can be a good leader or a good manager. Okay, so answers will not be there in the passage for this. Hence, you need to shape your thoughts to be very much ethically and politically correct. What do I mean by these words? We'll talk about in the subsequent slides. So typically decision making has 7 to 8 varieties, but a majority of the questions have been asked on behavioral aspect, then managerial, and then logical. What are these aspects? We'll cover each and everything in detail. Again, as I said, like RC, it is not really a test of your theoretical knowledge. It basically aims to test the basic assumptions that, okay, the way in which you think and the way in which you can actually tackle the real world problems. That is what is the intent of this section, decision making. Hence, do not neglect this session, this particular section. Now, let's move on to the type of questions that, what are the typical kind of questions that you can expect in XAT 2021. So basis my experience and basis what I have analyzed in last 10 to 12 years, I typically divide questions into three types. Questions or maybe sets or maybe caselets. If we talk in terms of XAT, it is basically caselet. So then there are sets which has a single question, right? These are like, critical reasoning questions which come in the section of decision making. So please note this, in my opinion, are the must solve for everyone. Everyone should at least target all the single question, which basically means that you will have a passage which will not be of more than 2 to 3 lines. And then after 2 to 3 lines, you will have one question on it. Why these are very easier to crack relative to other questions? Because First, यहाँ पे information is quite simpler to understand because you only have 2 to 3 passages, right? Sorry, 2 to 3 lines. That's it. You just have one single paragraph with 2 to 3 lines, which will be followed by one question. And then यहाँ पे time per question is very low because you just have 2 to 3 lines to read and then one question. So यहाँ पे तुमको काफी कम time लगेगा to solve it. Hence, these are the questions that you should definitely target for a higher percentile. इसमें ज़्यादा time नहीं लगता. And what has been observed is iske questions have been increasing last 4-5 years, right? So that is a good news for everyone. Then after single questions, you have second type, jahan pe you have a caselet, which is basically 2 to 3 paragraph ka ek bada sa caselet aata hai, and then it is followed by 2 to 3 questions. ठीक है, यहाँ पे the major key is यहाँ पे लोग बहुत फंसते हैं because यहाँ पे questions तो 2-3 ही है but paragraph 2-3 paragraph का पूरा caselet आता है, and then here the strategy is you have to ensure that you glance the passage before attempting it, and the first thing is you have to judge whether the particular subject जो topic है 2-3 paragraphs में whether it is of your comfort area or not. अगर तुमको लग रहा है कि कंफर्ट एरिया का है, ओनली देन जंप ऑन टू द क्वेश्चंस एंड जंप ऑन टू दिस पर्टिकुलर सेट, एल्स होल्ड ऑन टू दीस टाइप ऑफ सेट्स फॉर नाउ. क्योंकि इसमें क्या होता है, इसमें यूजुअली इट इज सीन कि लंबा पैसेज आता है, क्वेश्चंस कम होते हैं एंड हेंस आरओआई इसका काफी कम है, रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट इज क्वाइट लो इन सच क्वेश्चंस, एंड ये इसमें काफी लोग फंसते हैं. हेंस बिफोर जंपिंग ऑन टू दीस क्वेश्चंस मेक श्योर कि जो पैसेज गिवन है यू आर वेरी मच फैमिलियर विद दैट पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट. पता चला कि तुमको बायो का कुछ भी नहीं आता एंड द एंटायर पैसेज इज ऑन बायो एंड देन दे आर आस्किंग समथिंग कि व्हाट विल यू डू एज अ डॉक्टर एंड यू एब्सोल्युटली हैव नो क्लू. सो मेक वाइज चॉइसेस हियर. एंड द लास्ट एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टाइप इज एक बड़ा सा केसलेट आएगा जिसमें 5 से 6 क्वेश्चंस होते हैं. इसमें क्या होता है, यूजुअली द पैराग्राफ इज इजियर, इट हैज अ लॉट ऑफ डेटा, right? So while reading it, you have to read it properly. यहाँ पे ROE काफी अच्छा है because you have 5 to 6 questions, right? अगर तुमने एक ऐसा caselet कर लिया, it gives you +6, which is huge for your boost up in the score, right? But यहाँ पे the only challenge is कभी कभार एक options थोड़े से confuse हो जाते हैं, but still I'll say कि out of 5 to 6 questions, 2 to 3 questions can be solved in a span of less than 1 minute. So इसका आरओई काफी अच्छा है. हेंस आई पर्सनली फील कि मे बी जो सिंगल क्वेश्चंस दिए वो पहले कर लो, 5 to 6 वाले पहले कर लो. इसमें यू बेसिकली सी द सब्जेक्ट ऑफ द पैसेज बिफोर जंपिंग ऑन टू द सोल्यूशन पार्ट और बिफोर जंपिंग ऑन टू द क्वेश्चंस. अगर फैमिलियर है तो करो, नहीं है तो मत करो. एंड इसमें पैसेज का क्या स्ट्रैटेजी होना चाहिए, वेदर यू शुड डू पैसेज फर्स्ट कि पहले पूरा पैसेज पढ़ना है देन क्वेश्चंस, और फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन देन पैसेज. This I'll handle in the next slide. So this is a very important slide. Maybe if you want to take notes, do it. First is you have to follow PQP strategy. This is one strategy which I've made to basically entail higher marks. What it helps is it helps you to not pick a wrong set, right? इसमें कभी if you follow PQP strategy ऐसा नहीं होगा कि you have done द सेट और उसके बाद जाके पता चला कि यार ये वाले क्वेश्चंस तो आई कैन नॉट डू. वो चीज कभी नहीं होगी, है ना? बहुत बार होता है ना कैट में दैट वी हैव रेड इन आरसी वी हैव चोजन रॉन्ग सेट. बहुत बार कहते हैं डीआरआर में कि यार गलत सेट मत चूज कर लो. सो दैट वोंट हैपन इफ यू फॉलो पीक्यूपी स्ट्रेटजी, स्पेशली फॉर डीएम. What PQP basically means is first of all just have a glance at the passage, maybe 1 minute. पूरा पैसेज पे सिर्फ ग्लैंस कर लो. सो इट इज बेसिकली रीडिंग बिटवीन द लाइंस. व्हाट डू यू डू? शुरू की 2-3 लाइंस पढ़ ली, पहले पैराग्राफ्स की, लास्ट की 2-3 लाइंस पढ़ ली, एंड सो ऑन. सो यू जस्ट glance the passage first, then glance the questions, and then go back to the passage again. तो इससे you would already be familiar कि what the passage is all about, क्वेश्चन में क्या पूछा है ये भी तुमको आइडिया लग जाएगा. एंड देन थर्ड टाइम व्हेन यू बेसिकली कम टू द पैसेज यू नो कि मुझे कहाँ पे रुक के मुझे कौन सा आंसर मार्क करना है, राइट? सो दिस हेल्प्स, दिस एक्चुअली हेल्प मी स्कोर वेल इन डिसीजन मेकिंग. Then the most important approach or strategy or funda if I have to say जो तुम्हारे decision making के बहुत सारे sets में लगेगा, that is the multi-stakeholder approach. I think students who also attended last session, they would know ki what this stakeholder approach is all about, right? So because others cannot speak, else I would have definitely asked you guys to contribute, but yeah, in the interest of time I'll say ki what stakeholder approach basically means. So it basically says कि कोई भी अगर एक पूरा केसलेट होगा या पूरा पैसेज होगा, right? It typically has multiple stakeholders. Stakeholders क्या होते हैं? These are like protagonist कि ठीक है इस particular passage के इतने heroes है या इतने villains है. So you basically have to identify every particular stakeholder that is of interest in this particular caselet. Now some जो तुमको काफी common stakeholders दिखेंगे, it can be government हो सकता है, manager हो सकता है, it can be employer, it can be say a third party like auditing firm, right? So these are the 4 or 5 typical types of stakeholders which will be hidden inside the passage. So while marking the option, you have to think from all the stakeholders point of view. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि तुमने अपना पर्सनल ओपिनियन डाल दिया which only suits government कि ठीक है तुम रेवेन्यू बढ़ाओ, इंडिया का जीडीपी बढ़ाओ, that is it. But if it is against the interest of the company, it is against the interest of the stakeholder, which is a manager, who is the manager here. So idea is you have to choose the option that fits in for all the stakeholders, right? Next is यहाँ पे बहुत लोग फंसते हैं कि सर 4 ऑप्शन दिए हैं, मैंने तो ए लगाया था बट गिवन आंसर बी है, मुझे बताओ ए में क्या गलती है. तो as I would again say, यहाँ पे there is no single right answer or there is no single wrong answer, especially in the section of decision making. यहाँ पे क्या होता है ना कि you have to choose the option that is the best out of all. So you basically have to choose the more right option or maybe less wrong option. ऐसा हो सकता है कि मतलब चारों options which is given to you in the passage are wrong, but then you basically have to choose the least wrong option out of the 4. Hence this becomes थोड़ा सा tricky, right? Because this is not straightforward. Again, अगर 4 ऑप्शन दिए, 4 में से तुमने 2 एलिमिनेट कर दिए which were wrong, but then 2 तुमको दिख रहे हैं कि यार दोनों सही है. So out of these 2 options, you will choose that option which is more right, right? And how do you analyze कि which option is more right? That of course we'll be talking in the class as well. वो थोड़ा लंबा procedure है which will cover in the class. So here elimination option works the best. What you have to do is out of all the options, first of all eliminate किया, these are the very extreme options, ये तो definitely नहीं होंगे, ठीक है. So out of 5 options, 2 are already eliminated. Then use stakeholder approach maybe. So out of 3 you will be ending up with 1 or 2 options. इससे तुम्हारे options काफी कम हो जाएंगे, right? And you basically have to look for those options because there can be multiple options which are right or multiple options which are wrong. So in that case, you have to look for options that has the maximum ROI or which has the maximum benefit for all the stakeholders and the minimum damage that it does. So these are the 2 terms that you have to remember कि मतलब फायदा बहुत होना चाहिए और नुकसान काफी कम होना चाहिए. So you have to choose that best option. Next point, I think this is a point जिसपे अगर तुमने ध्यान नहीं दिया तो I'm sure मतलब काफी negative भी हो सकता है. There are people who also score negative in decision making. And why does this happen? Because we tend to follow personal assumptions, right? Or favoritism. इससे मेरा मतलब क्या है? Maybe let me try to give some example. So matlab it is a very natural human tendency that we try to get influenced by the options and we basically assume ourselves in the shoe and get negative mark. तो हमको लगेगा कि यार चलो 4-5 options आए. So let's take a case कि if the case in the question deals with rights or maybe workers or maybe women empowerment या कुछ मान लो labor protest story against management of a company. So हमारी जनरल टेंडेंसी क्या होती है इज टू फेवर द वीकर साइड, दैट इज द वर्कर्स कि यार वर्कर्स गरीब है, ठीक है उनका भला होना चाहिए. सो वी टिपिकली चूज that option which favors workers, but then again this is our personal bias and our personal inclination towards the weaker side, which is मतलब very common, तुम में भी होता है मुझ में भी होता है. But hence decision making में you have to ensure कि ऐसा ना करो, because see there can be case कि तुमने workers का side choose किया, but then this might not be the right way forward in probably every cases that you come across. क्योंकि ऐसा हो सकता है कि वर्कर्स का जो डिमांड है that may not justify और उससे जो कंपनी है जो which is the main stakeholder उसको फायदा नहीं हो रहा होगा, right? If that is the case तो वर्कर्स वाला अप्रोच नहीं हेल्प करेगा and you will probably end up getting -1. Yeah, I think Kabir has raised hand. Let me just see what is the question here. basically have to deal with those questions which we have to arrange accordingly from 1 to 5 based on criticality of ethics. Yeah, so Kabir, that also we'll see. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this was the most important point. Hence, I had also highlighted this in red. And last point, just I think, which can definitely help you to avoid or to probably eliminate options is avoid the unethical options. Which basically means avoid all the extreme options. अगर कोई कह रहा है कि यार इस बंदे को तुम निकाल दो कंपनी से, इसको मार दो या इस कंपनी को बंद करवा दो, right? So these sort of extreme options will never be the answer. So morals and ethics should be always upheld, right? So basically company policy जो है, it can never be wrong. A manager, if he is the manager of a company, he can never do wrong. You have to basically think in the shoe of a manager. और इन शॉर्ट यू हैव टू फॉलो डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेस कि ठीक है तुमको सबका सोचना है. यू डोंट हैव टू बी ट्रम्प, यू हैव टू बी जो बाइडेन, एक सबका साथ सबका विकास, राइट? सो फर्स्ट थिंग इज टू बेसिकली डाउस द फायर कि जहां पे भी कुछ गलत हुआ है पहले प्रॉब्लम को आइडेंटिफाई करो, डिस्कस करो लोगों से, कम अप विद द बेस्ट सॉल्यूशन. जो हम लोग बिहेवियरल, जिसको हम नॉर्मल ज्ञान कहते हैं ना, दैट रियली वर्क्स वेल इन दिस सेक्शन, right? So we will be going through each and every type of questions and how to deal with it. पुराने ZAT में क्या पूछा है, क्यों पूछा है, in our classes as well. So yeah, with this, I think these were the normal theory or the normal ज्ञान. इसके अलावा हम क्लास में भी individual type of questions करेंगे. But do you guys want to practice some decision making sets yourself? Then maybe we can practice some sets and we can see कि how do we apply strategy. Yes. किसी को जल्दी नहीं है, right? I hope everyone has done dinner. Fine. So let's practice some decision making sets. This is the first set. So what I'll do is I'll just wait or I'll just take a minute. I'll give time to each and every one of you to think and then comment your answers. ठीक है? So maybe we'll just do a couple of sets and बाकी sets हम लोग class के अंदर तो करेंगे. So this is the first set. Just read this question and this is the set and then it is followed by a question. So if you see, this is from type number 1, which is single question. So maybe I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes, read this and comment your answers. Yeah, guys. So I think the time is up. We have gotten 2 options. Some people are saying 1 and some people are saying 3. Let's, before jumping on to the answer, let's read कि क्या बोल रहा है यहाँ पे ना. So Mrs. Jain has been leading business manager in the world of business and has established her credentials in a world dominated by men. Okay, so she has proved herself and she has primarily worked in the industry and has extensive knowledge of the field. She recently started her own cosmetic firm, okay, and has decided to make sure that females find adequate representations in her company, okay. In her experiences in the cosmetic industry, she has generally seen that the sales and the marketing wings of most companies are dominated by men, okay. Sales and marketing में majority men होते हैं. This is what she has observed, right, in her experiences. Keeping this in mind, she has decided to employ at least 50% females in the sales and the marketing department of a company. Now let's read the question. Which of the following could be the most serious issue that Mrs. Jain might face with the decision? Okay. So her decision is कि मेरी कंपनी में sales and marketing में 50% से ज़्यादा females होगी. This is her decision. We have to find that answer or that option which is posing a threat to this decision, which is against this, right? तो एक बार देखते हैं. सबको, I hope passage is clear. In this given case, the given prompt behaves like, so this is more like a critical reasoning set, right? Fact क्या है कि Mrs. Jain, she wishes to address the problem of the gender equality, right? And उसका solution is उसका सॉल्यूशन है कि 50% फीमेल को मुझे डालना है. बट द ओनली थिंग दैट शी इज मिसिंग इज, उसको लग रहा है कि ठीक है फीमेल्स डालने हैं इन प्रोबेबली एवरी पार्ट. सो द ओनली थिंग शी हैजंट कंसिडर्ड इज शी हैज नेग्लेक्टेड द फैक्ट दैट द गिवन जॉब रोल सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग में it might have certain requirements which require male and this is a threat to her plan. एक बार हम लोग पहले सारे ऑप्शंस देखते हैं, which is option number 1 is the job might have travel requirements that might pose a challenge for the females. ठीक है, कह रहा है कि भाई सेल्स इन मार्केटिंग है, there might be travel and इसकी वजह से फीमेल्स को चैलेंज हो सकता है. अगर ये सही हो गया देन ऑफ कोर्स 50% फीमेल्स वो सेल्स इन मार्केटिंग में नहीं डाल पाएगी, राइट? सो या दिस लुक्स लाइक वन ऑफ द ऑप्शन. Let's read all the questions first. Females have an intrinsic understanding of the use of cosmetics that men do not have. I think option number 2 does not weaken the argument, right? It is rather a supporting pillar. तो यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन में पूछा है which of the following is the most serious issue. So second तो नहीं होगा. Third is it is not necessary that females wish to take up these roles. Okay. Option 3 तो काफी न्यूट्रल स्टेटमेंट है, राइट? कि it is not necessary that females wish to take up these roles. So I don't think that it is providing any sort of conclusive evidence against the argument. It is just saying कि ठीक है तुमको फीमेल चाहिए, बट ऐसा हो सकता है कि फीमेल को रोल नहीं चाहिए, राइट? बट दिस कैन ऑल्सो बी ट्रू फॉर मेल, राइट? कि मेल को रोल नहीं चाहिए. So this, while is a neutral statement, but it is not giving any conclusive evidence which can be against this particular decision. ये तो उसको पता ही होगा, right? कि 50% females चाहिए. If the selected females don't want to work, maybe she'll hire more. So that option she always have. Option 4, men are better at sales than females. Again, this is a very extreme option, right? मतलब it says कि it is more of a prejudice कि always men are like better than sales. Are better at sales than females. So we always avoid such options. ये option intentionally डाला था so that you understand that what are the kind of options which is against my morals or maybe against my ethics. तो fourth तो नहीं हो सकता, fourth नहीं होगा तो fifth भी नहीं होगा. Which means 1 and 3 look like decent answers, decent options to me. But if I have to choose one from 1 and 3, third looks like ठीक है, third is a normal statement, but maybe it doesn't give me a very strong. See यहाँ पे क्या पूछा है कि most serious issue. ठीक है, मतलब this is like a neutral statement. This doesn't really pose a very serious issue to the decision. But if we talk about statement 1, कि हाँ sales का job होगा, right? You have to go and then you have to travel. So in a job of sales that may have travel requirements which might pose a challenge for females. So this can be a threat. Hence 1 and 3 में से none of the option is 100% right, none of the option is 100% wrong. But if I have to choose one, I'll probably choose one. And then the answer will be 1 and not 3. Clear sabko? I think most of you have got it right. Correct, Vanshika. But see, that is, yeah. So I don't think that this is a personal assumption. Hence, we have used the word that might, right? So might always gives you a neutral statement कि travel हुआ and ऐसा हो सकता है कि maybe females may not find comfortable. And if this happens, then of course this will be a serious challenge to my decision. Hence we'll use this. अगर question ये होता कि that will definitely pose a challenge for females, then yes, this is a very extreme option because you don't know आज की date में females love to travel, but because the word is a light word which is like might, so yeah, we can go with option number 1. Because अगर ये हो गया कि females को नहीं पसंद traveling करना day and night to go to villages, tier 3, deal with people and go and sell the products home to home, or sorry, door to door, then yeah, it will definitely become a challenging experience for me. ठीक है? So let's move on to next set. Yeah, let's read this. And this is the question. Sure, Keshav, I'll do that. It's just that when so many messages keep on coming, it distracts me. But yeah, I'll have an eye on the chat box. Okay. This is slightly easier, I think. And I'm sure everyone will be able to answer this. Good, guys. This is so fast. So you're able to solve this question within 20-30 seconds. That is the manner in which you have to solve it in the exam, right? Ashish Dwivedi says 2. Okay, guys, time up. And yeah, the correct answer, let's see. Yeah, so you're the HR manager of your organization. There's a hard-working employee, Ayush. Ayush Daruka, it looks like you. And in terms of behavior, effort, and diligence, Ayush is one of the top most employees in the company. Okay. The issue is that the company is a call center for a US based company, and Ayush communication skills are not up to the level. Ayush, now this reminds me of our conversation about the communication skill on a lighter note. Even after being given training, Ayush has not been able to improve his communication skills. What should you do in the given scenario? Okay, you are the HR manager, right? So again, this is again a scenario in a company where I think performance of a particular employee, Ayush, is under the scrutiny. And you can definitely see that there is a positive side and the negative side. He's like a brilliant guy, but his communication skill is not up to the level. So you have to again use the stakeholder approach. And here, what all stakeholders do you have? You have just two stakeholders. One is the company, what is good for the company, and second is the employee, right? Because you're the HR manager. So you have to think both for the company as well as for the employee. Hence, you have to find a solution that is beneficial for both. And basically some sort of midway that suits all, right? So let's look at the options. Ask Ayush to leave. Guys, this is a very extreme option. You would not want to do this. Of course not. Provide another training to Ayush. This is what option 2 say. But is it valid? See guys, already मैंने काफी training दे चुका हूँ, right? Even after being given training, Ayush has not able to improve his communication skill. तो जब अब नहीं हुआ तो और training देके तो definitely नहीं होगा, मतलब, right? So as an HR manager, I don't want to waste my time and affect my company by wasting time and giving more training to Ayush, right? So given the fact in the passage, we'll again cross this option. Find another job for Ayush. You are the HR of a company. How would you find another job for Ayush? इसको कंपनी से हटा के दूसरी कंपनी में तुम कैसे ले जाओगे, right? Because one is not the answer, 5 भी नहीं होगा, third भी नहीं होगा, so the only option remaining is 4. Also, if we see it is fourth option is change the job role of Ayush. You know for the fact that Ayush is a very great guy, right? He's a very hardworking employee. The only problem is his communication skill. वो भी प्रॉब्लम क्यों है? बिकॉज ही इज वर्किंग फॉर ए यूएस बेस्ड क्लाइंट, जहां पे तुमको कॉल पे बात करना रहता है यूएस वाले बंदों से. अभी उनसे तुम हिंदी में नहीं बात कर सकते, राइट? सो Ayush is a great guy for my company, but may not be suitable for this particular project. Hence, option 4 is the best out of the given 5 options. Clear, everyone? Then let's move on to the next question. Okay, I'll again check for the messages. We don't get question at this level. Yeah, this is a slightly easier option, but let me tell you, this is again a question from previous years at the past years at. So yeah, such questions have also been asked. ऐसा नहीं होता कि सारे questions difficult होते हैं या सारे easy होते हैं. So next question, let's see how many can do this. HR वाले questions बहुत आएंगे guys, because you are applying for Excel, which is one of the leading B school for HR. तो HR वाले cases काफी आएंगे. This is the set and this is the question. Okay, I think many have already answered this. Perfect, guys. Let's look at this. So you are the HR manager in a company. You organize and support recruitment and training, provide secretarial support for disciplinary investigations, and keep personal records of the staff. You will report to this. Okay, so hierarchy is that you're reporting to Ms. Dilipa, one of the two senior HR managers, who then reports to HR director. Okay, it's a hierarchical company. For the post of consultant professor in the trust, two internal candidates, Mr. Rana and Mr. Charan, were interviewed. Mr. Charan was selected as he was considered to be academically gifted with impressive leadership skills, even though he had less experience. 3 days later, Mr. Rana come to your office complaining that the selection was unfair as he had more experience than Mr. Charan. Okay. So Mr. Rana is saying that because he had more experience, he should be selected. Okay. So which of the following is the best way to handle the issue raised by Rana? Perfect. Let's look at the option. Maybe we'll start with option number E first. Warn Mr. Rana that his complaint will be construed as misdemeanor and held against him in the next promotion cycle. Okay. So what option E basically means is you're basically satisfying your ego कि तुम अपनी complaint वापस कर लो, else I probably won't give you a good rating in the next promotion cycle, right? This is of course the most unethical thing for an HR to say. So we always avoid the extreme options. E to nahi hoga. D is tell Mr. Rana that the institute finds the right person for the job, not the one who has been around the longest. Okay. This is neutral statement. It is not an extreme one, but let's understand what does this say. आप Mr. Rana को बोलो that the institute finds the right person for the job and not the one who has been the longest. So isn't this a very redundant information, right? Mr. Rana already knows for the fact that he has the longer years of experience, but he is still not selected. तुम अगर उसको वापस जाके same ही चीज बोलोगे that we have found the right person and not the one who has the longer years of experience, it is not adding any sort of value, right? Mr. Rana won't be satisfied because you're just giving the same information to him which he already knows. Mr. Rana को तो पता ही है, right, that he has more years of experience, but why is he not selected is the question. So again, this is not a very comfortable option to this particular question because it doesn't help Mr. Rana to convince himself. Then C, offer tea and say that you can understand why he's upset. Let him have a bit of a moan and help him get it out of his system. Okay. तो आई थिंक ऑप्शन सी इज लाइक ठीक है, उसको साइड में तुम ले जाओगे कोने में एंड देन उसको बोलोगे कि यार ठीक है सिस्टम ऐसा ही है, यू बोथ विल ट्राई टू अब्यूज द सिस्टम, यू विल लेट हिम अब्यूज द सिस्टम कि ठीक है यार वैसे ही होता है, आई कैंट डू एनीथिंग ऑन दिस, हेंस ठीक है. और जब वो फ्रस्ट्रेट जाएगा और जब वो शांत हो जाएगा देन यू विल बी लाइक चलो ठीक है अब इट्स डन, सो लेट्स फॉरगेट अबाउट इट. अगेन एज एन एचआर व्हेन यू नो फॉर द फैक्ट कि तुम सही हो, यू हैवंट डन एनीथिंग राइट, you know कि Mr. Charan is academically gifted, he has a higher leadership skill, then you would definitely don't want to be in a compromising situation, right? You won't hear anything or you won't even give Rana a chance to say anything against the system. Hence option C is directly eliminated. Now let's look at option B. Tell Mr. Rana that if he is interested, he could write to the HR director and you would act as per the directives received. Fair. Looks like a decent option, right? कि तुम राणा को बोल दो कि भाई this is my decision, कोई प्रॉब्लम हो तो तुम हायर अथॉरिटी में रिपोर्ट कर दो, राइट? बट उससे क्या होगा? उससे रिजोल्यूशन क्या होगा? You're just saving yourself from resolving the problem. उससे क्या होगा? HR डायरेक्टर भी प्रोबेबली आके सेम ही चीज बोलेंगे कि भाई चरण बेटर है. ठीक है, एक बार ए ऑप्शन भी देख लेते हैं. This is a decent option, but let's also see option A. Tell Mr. Rana that you empathize with him, but the process was fair and the details of the assessment could be shared with him. This looks like a very better option to me as compared to the other options because यहाँ पे you're very confident कि भाई process is good, process is fair, and hence Mr. Charan has better leadership skill than you, and which is the need of the hour, and hence he's selected and you're so confident that you can also share the details with him. So of course, out of the 5 options, A is the best fitted option for this particular question. Is this clear, guys? Any questions? Unethical, clear. ठीक है, perfect. So let's move on to the next part. Okay, so this is again probably your next question and maybe the last one. In the interest of time, we have already spent 1 hour. So here goes the next question. Again, I think some guy was asking ki sequence wali question mein what do you do? So here is a question for you. An information is given, you have few options, you have to select the best option. I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes for this and then we'll discuss this. Yeah. So yes, Sanchit Group of Hospitals seeks to improve the success rate and patient satisfaction rate by 100%. ठीक है, एक हॉस्पिटल है उसको सक्सेस रेट बढ़ाना है और पेशेंट का सेटिस्फैक्शन रेट बढ़ाना है by 100%. ठीक है. In the next year, however, the management cannot afford to send doctors for professional development outside the country nor afford purchasing more equipment. ठीक है, there's a financial crisis कि ये सारी चीजें नहीं कर सकता management. Hence, as an in-house measure, the management board or the managing board thought of having doctors with high patient satisfaction to mentor those with less. ठीक है, fair. What they said is कि जिनको ज़्यादा experience है, who have a good dealing with the patients, they will mentor the lower satisfaction index वाले doctors. Now, of course, इस पे बवाल हुआ. Most of the doctors found it as an interference by the management. Of course, ये होगा, right? Imagine yourself, तुम्हारे ही बराबर का कोई बंदा अगर आके तुमको सिखाएगा, you'll be like कि भाई सेम लेवल पे हो, क्यों इतना लीडरशिप झाड़ रहे हो, right? So that's why most of the doctors found it as an interference by the management, judgmental, and an expression of distrust. There were, however, some isolated few who found it a novel way of learning from each other. You can maybe relate this problem to your corporate environment कि office में if your boss says कि भाई तुम्हारे ही बराबर का कोई दूसरा बंदा है, if he tells that guy कि you have to mentor this particular person, then of course you won't feel good about it, right? Because you'll be like कि भाई ये कौन होता है? Hence that thing directly affects your ego. Now the doctors felt that the management should increase the consultancy fees and spend more on recruiting more paramedics, okay, who could spend more time with the patients rather than blame doctors, and decided to call it quits. ठीक है. So यहाँ पे doctors have felt कि ठीक है, तुम ऐसा मत करो. What you can do is ज़्यादा पैसा at least तुम consultancy के ऊपर spend करो. You basically hire more paramedics who can take care of patients well, and उससे तुम्हारा patient satisfaction rate will increase. But for the management, this would mean loss of patients. अगर doctors छोड़ के जाते हैं तो yes, of course, it will also affect the patients. So now you have following actions. Which of the following sequence of actions is most appropriate for the hospital administration in achieving their goal? ठीक है. Note कि यहाँ पे question में बोला है which of the following sequence, right? Hence option 1 and option 5 are different क्योंकि तुमको पूरा sequence बताना है कि भाई सबसे पहले क्या करना है, उसके बाद में क्या करना है, उसके बाद में क्या करना है, right? You have to follow the sequence, which is very important here. So let's see at the options. Conduct a survey of all the stakeholders and ascertain their needs and suggestions. ठीक है, मतलब जब भी कोई क्राइसिस होता है यही करना चाहिए कि भाई सबको बुलाओ, उनके सजेशंस लो. That is what the option 1 says. Fair. Build consensus among the doctors and the paramedics on a possible way forward. ठीक है. Stakeholders यही है कि doctors कह रहे हैं कि भाई paramedics को नहीं doctors are suggesting कि paramedics को लाना है. ठीक है, तो जितने भी डॉक्टर्स है, हाई सेटिस्फैक्शन, लो सेटिस्फैक्शन, सबको बुला लो, पैरामेडिक्स को भी बुला लो, एंड सबसे मिलके तुम एक सॉल्यूशन निकालो. फेयर. Then you prepare an action plan that details out the roadmap along with the financial implication. Because हमारे पास challenge और maybe constraint क्या है, that the doctors cannot afford, right? मैं बंदों को बाहर नहीं भेज सकता ट्रेनिंग के लिए. ठीक है, तो इसीलिए financial implication तो मुझे सोचना पड़ेगा, because that is the major deciding factor for me. Fourth is design differential service package based on the affordability of the patient. ओके, सो यहाँ पे वो क्या कह रहा है कि भाई तुम सर्विस पैकेज मतलब अलग कर दो, कि जो काफी रिच पेशेंट्स है जो अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं उनके लिए तुम अच्छी सर्विस वाला पैकेज बना दो, जो अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते उनके लिए अच्छा नहीं बनाओ, राइट? अगेन दिस इज एन एक्सट्रीम ऑप्शन, एंड यहाँ पे ऐसा कहीं नहीं दिया है कि सेटिस्फैक्शन, पेशेंट सेटिस्फैक्शन इंडेक्स के अंदर इट इज ओनली द हायर इनकम वाले पेशेंट्स, राइट? ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि दीज आर मोस्टली लोअर इनकम पेशेंट्स. So because you don't have this information, you have to come up with a solution that helps every patient and not just the upper class. Option 4 only helps the upper class wale patients, right? Hence 4th to nahi hona chahiye. 5th, run a brainstorming session among the leading doctors of this area. Again, यहाँ पे गाइस प्रॉब्लम ही ये है कि जो डॉक्टर्स नए आए हैं या जिनका सेटिस्फैक्शन इंडेक्स इज नॉट ग्रेट, द फीलिंग अ सेंस ऑफ डिस्ट्रस्ट बिकॉज द ग्रुप वांटेड कि जो बड़े डॉक्टर्स है, जो लीडिंग डॉक्टर्स है, वो एडवाइस करे, राइट? तो अगर 5th सजेशन हो पाता तो जो सजेशन था हॉस्पिटल का वही हो जाता, राइट? सी, यहाँ पे द डिसीजन दैट वाज टेकन बाय द मैनेजमेंट बोर्ड, it was not accepted by the doctors, right? Because of the fact that it was including and giving more preference and more weightage and more sense of acceptance to the higher doctors. And 5th option भी same है, 5th तो नहीं होना चाहिए, because problem ही यही हो रही क्योंकि 5th option नहीं accept कर रहे, right? Some of the doctors. So 1 to 3 में से कुछ होना चाहिए. अभी what should be the sequence? Of course, first of all, you'll basically do a survey. You'll try to identify the need, right? This is like a marketing problem. You just talk with the customer. You try to identify the need. कि क्या problem क्या है? ठीक है, that is first. And then you discuss with everyone and then try to come up with the possible solutions. कि भाई अब बताओ what should be the possible solutions for it. This should be 2. This should be 1. And then out of all the options, you have to decide an action plan and choose that best option, which is in lieu with the financial implication, because cost is a constraint. So यहाँ पे तो काफी straightforward हो गया. Answer should be 3 because it is 1 to 3 and that is the final option here. Clear, guys? Answer will be 3. If you have any doubts here, ki why 3, why not 1, 2, 4, 5, then yeah, you can definitely ask me. Purushottam, Amisha, you said 4. See, 5th तो नहीं होगा, right? मतलब 5th is a very, if the option 5 would have been true, then तो ये पूरा crisis ही नहीं होता, right? This entire crisis is happening because they're trying to favor leading doctors, right? And that is what is creating a sense of interference in the lower doctors. इसलिए 5th तो clear cut no है. 5th is no, तो anyways तुम्हारा 1st हट गया, 4th हट गया, 5th हट गया. Clear? Fine, guys. So next, probably I'll give you guys as homework. You can attempt it at home and probably you can discuss the solutions with me, or maybe put it in the group and we can discuss it. ये है question. मैं इसका recording भी डाल दूंगा, so you will have access to this question. I'm not discussing the solution right now, and you can do it at your home. This is your first homework, and the second homework is this. This is a question created by us only. ठीक है, ये होमवर्क है, ये तुमको वीडियो में मिल जाएगा या स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो. So you will have access to this. Try to attempt it, and उसके बाद I'll tell you the answers of these. पहले आंसर बता दिया, then you'll be very biased and आंसर तो आ ही जाएगा अगर मैंने पहले ही ऑप्शन बता दिया तो. ठीक है. Yeah, I think there are some questions. Let me check. So can you share the link of YouTube channel? Sure, I'll do that. Previous, ठीक है, मैं दिखा देता हूँ. दो ये सेशन में रिकॉर्ड कर रहा हूँ. I will be putting this session on YouTube. You can just search by Prepzone MBA or maybe just ping me. ठीक है, मुझे एक बार पिंग कर लो. I will share my, this is my number 69770. ठीक है, you can ping me. I'll share the links with you. Fine. So these are your homeworks. You have to attempt it, and then we'll discuss ki why is a particular option right and why is a particular option wrong. Now comes the important slide. कि ठीक है, हमने काफी कुछ डिस्कस किया, but what next? तुमको डिसीजन मेकिंग कैसे करना है? What are the things you should do? How we guys can also help you. So we have a course launching soon. We are starting from 7th in the next 4-5 days. And here what we'll be covering is, we'll be covering these 9 types of problems. critical reasoning, behavioral, logical questions, ethical dilemma, management issues, case study type, situation based, logical and quant based, and questions on real world problems. ये सारे types हम discuss करेंगे in the class. ठीक है? And how the sessions will be held and उसमें क्या क्या चीजें include होगी. So this is a slide for it. I've already made 4 videos. It's made by me only and the subject experts. So these 4 pre-recorded concept sessions, which will probably clear all the varieties of questions that will be shared with all the enrolled students. These are already uploaded on YouTube. It's private and it will be shared with you. And then we'll be practicing a lot of varieties of decision-making concepts and such in the class live. Yes. And sessions will be taken by Leela as well, and I'll also be there for any sort of support that you may need. He's the guy who scored 99.8 last year in decision making. And the important thing is these sessions are not going to be the normal session ki humne question bataya, ye answer hai, that's it. Nahin. What is so special about this sessions is it will be very interactive. And you have to and our major expectation is you have to argue and debate with us ki why sir option A is not right, mujhe samajh mein nahi aaya. So unless you are convinced till your last breath, you have to keep on arguing it. क्योंकि जितना आर्ग्यू करोगे, जितना डिबेट करोगे, उतना ही तुम्हारा थिंकिंग सही होगा. एंड हियर डिसीजन मेकिंग इज ऑल अबाउट शेपिंग योर थॉट्स, व्हिच विल ओनली कम बाय आर्ग्यूइंग मोर. ठीक है? एंड दैट इज नॉट इट. यूजुअली लोग कहते हैं कि सर प्रीवियस दैट ईयर के पेपर्स काफी है क्या? वो तो है ही. इसके बियॉन्ड भी वी विल बी डूइंग डेली प्रैक्टिस सेट्स. लाइक वेरी रेगुलरली विल बी सॉल्विंग प्रैक्टिस सेट्स बियॉन्ड द दैट प्रीवियस ईयर्स. हम Z के प्रीवियस ईयर के तो सारे पेपर करेंगे. विल डू इट फ्रॉम 2008 टू 2017. 18-19 का वीडियो भी बना देंगे एंड हम डिस्कस भी कर लेंगे सॉल्यूशंस. ये सारे पेपर हम डिस्कस करेंगे लाइव. एंड आई नो इसके सॉल्यूशंस और सब कुछ तो अवेलेबल ही है, बट मतलब आई पर्सनली फील कि क्या होता है ना, व्हेन वी हैव सॉल्यूशन वी ट्राई टू गेट बायस्ड एंड वी ट्राई टू कन्विंस आवरसेल्फ कि चलो यार सॉल्यूशन सी दिया है तो मतलब सी ही होगा, मुझे ऐसे ही सोचना है. In the live session what happens is you basically get an opportunity to argue and debate कि सर मेरे को B आया तो B क्यों नहीं है, and that is what is required. You have to argue कि why your option is wrong, which is why live sessions help. वरना solutions तो I think these are like publicly available. And the best thing is instant doubt solving. Whatever doubts you have, we'll create a WhatsApp group. You can ping me, Leela, or maybe any mentor for that matter, and your doubts will be resolved. Now people may ask कि सर 10 दिन रह गए, कितने सेशन होंगे? 2-3 सेशंस तो नहीं है, आप क्या कराओगे, कितना कराओगे? So for that matter we have already made the schedule and this is going to be the schedule for the classes. There'll be a total of 13 live sessions. Yes, मतलब इतना आई डाउट कोई Z के लिए सिर्फ डिसीजन मेकिंग के लिए तुमको देगा, but yeah, we will have this. We'll be discussing all the papers from 2008 till 2017. 18, 19, 20 तुमको होमवर्क दिया जाएगा जिसके डाउट्स विल टेक. सो ऑलरेडी जो कॉन्सेप्ट वीडियो उसमें एक वीडियो इज ऑन Z 2018 एंड 19 का पेपर, तो उससे यू विल बी हेल्प्ड. ठीक है? तो हम लोग ये सारे पेपर्स डिस्कस करेंगे क्लास में लाइव. Also, before starting, we'll do some sort of basic building. What are the different types of sets you can expect? How do you have to think? How do you have to eliminate options? Critical reasoning में क्या करना है? Sequencing कैसे बनाते हैं? What are the strategies you can apply, right? So ये सारी चीजें will be discussed, and last में we have some more XLRI students who would, this will be like a motivational booster session. You'll have to sort of have a connect. So this is only for the decision making. इसके अलावा quant and verbal के तो as I've already said we are starting free practice, क्योंकि quant and verbal के concepts is usually clear. सबने CAT की तैयारी करी तो पता है कि क्या होता है. Hence उसमें इतना live interaction की need नहीं है जितना decision making में होता है. Hence the sessions are for decision making. Quant and verbal we will help you practice it for free. उसके लिए there is no cost. And इसका fees is only ₹1,000 and sessions will start within next 3-4 days. And group has already been made. Students are gaye already. So if you wish, you can join us and we can discuss all the possible varieties of decision making. And one thing that we can assure is after these sessions or after these classes, your decision making will be our responsibility. You can leave this section and you can focus on the other ones. Okay, decision making daily हम 1.5-2 घंटे का क्लास में हो ही जाएगा. With this, I'll conclude the session and I'll open the forum for any questions that you have. Sure. So Raja, I think I've already said you're taking free classes, or are these paid? So this was a free session. This is a part of, this is the schedule for Raja. Raja, you had a question. So this is the schedule for your interest. ये video recorded भी है, so you will also have access to it. And sessions will be, you can expect ideally एक पेपर में 20 से 25 questions होंगे. So 1.5 to 2 घंटा, 1.5 to 2 hours every day. We will have it from 9 PM. ठीक है. एंड जयेश, एक बार रिपीट अभी नहीं हो पाएगा. यू कैन वॉच द वीडियो. मैं आई थिंक इन नेक्स्ट 15 मिनट्स दिस वीडियो विल बी अपलोडेड ऑन द चैनल. एंड लोग कह रहे हैं कि इज दिस फ्री? नो गाइस, दिस इज नॉट अ फ्री सेशन. दिस इज अ पेड कोर्स एंड दिस इज द कोर्स. यू कैन सी द थिंग्स इंक्लूडेड हियर. इसका लिंक फेसबुक ग्रुप पे ऑलरेडी है, और यू कैन ऑल्सो पिंग मी इफ यू वांट टू एनरोल एंड रजिस्टर. आई विल सेंड द कोर्स लिंक. इंस्टा मोजो पे भी जाके देख सकते हो, प्रेपजोन के ग्रुप पे भी डाला है. And I'll also be sharing the link again. It's 1,000 rupees. Someone asked where to prepare quant. So Ritik, quant का practice हम लोग 2-3 दिन से start कर रहे हैं. I think we are starting it from 4th, which is day after tomorrow. Facebook group पे आ जाओ, वहाँ पे daily practice करेंगे quant. Quant more or less it's same. It just you have to, जो मतलब questions आते हैं, that is slightly longer. No, so Ritik, quant and verbal, it's free of cost. There is no fee. कोई point नहीं है वहाँ पे fee का, क्योंकि you have already learned it. It is just practice. Practice is for free. ठीक है. Decision making का जो sessions होंगे ये paid है, and इसके साथ भी हम लोग quant और verbal की भी practice करेंगे क्लास के अंदर. ठीक है. So this is a paid session for 1,000, which includes decision making in totality, जिसमें हम सारे previous 10-12 साल के पेपर भी करेंगे, and इसके beyond भी we'll do a lot of practice. जो भी टाइम सीएल जितने भी होते हैं और टेस्ट सीरीज, उन सब के जो सेट्स होते हैं, दैट आल्सो विल प्रैक्टिस. या राजा, you can make a decision before 7, anytime before 7. I think after 7 we may not be able to have more students. We are trying to have an upper bound of 50. उससे ज्यादा फिर personal interaction नहीं हो पाता है. So we typically have an upper count of 50 in our sessions. ठीक है. Any more question? Sir, quant level is same as that of CAT. नहीं जयेश, I won't say कि वो same होता है. Slightly I'll say questions are slightly lengthier. For instance, arithmetic के जो questions होते हैं slightly lengthy होते हैं. So you have to have a good reading speed and थोड़े से calculation intensive होते हैं, if I may say. And I think if you solve last few 2-3 साल के paper solve करोगे, so you will be able to get an idea of it. What's the cost of this course? I've told already, it is 1,000 rupees only. And yet this will cover everything. Quant of IIFT. Kushag, we have already made, so guys, हमने IIFT का एक post already डाल दिया है, Snap का भी डाल दिया है, NMAT का भी डाल दिया है, XAT का भी डाल दिया है. We have even made a post on MyCat. And these are the strategy posts. We have also given free mocks. Free mocks के links भी तुमको दे दिए. Just open the group, Prepzone, है ना, MBA Prepzone करके एक बार ग्रुप खोल लो, वहां पे तुमको सब कुछ मिल जाएगा. We'll have access to everything. ठीक है. वहां पे पोस्ट डले में इट टेल्स यू कि क्वांट कैसे करना है, डीएलआर क्या करना है, वर्बल क्या करना है. इट हैज एक्सेस टू एवरीथिंग. सो जस्ट जॉइन द ग्रुप एंड यू विल नो. डज दैट कंक्लूड? Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for attending, and I hope to see you in the classes starting from 7th.